Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. A very good morning to all the viewers. I'm Hiral Daria. Clearly, the markets are seeing some bit of consolidation, and that is expected to continue as well, taking up the valuations that we've been trading with. Plus, you have Fitch, which has gone ahead and downgraded the US, on the back of which we did see some bit of an impact coming in on our markets. However, this morning, Morgan Stanley had gone ahead and upgraded India and moved the position from number 6 to number 1 with a downgrade coming in on China. No major positive impact so far, but a lot of stock-specific action is what we are witnessing in trade. To discuss more, joining us on the show is Vijay Chopra from Enoch Ventures. Vijay, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Hiral. Thanks for having me on the show.
Always a pleasure to speak to you. Vijay, let's start with the Ambuja Cement as well as the Sanghi Industries on the back of the acquisition that has been made at an enterprise value of 5,000 odd crores. What's your view on Ambuja Cement with the acquisition, and what would you advise investors to do?
Well, I'll first comment on what happened when Adani took over ACC and Ambuja both. So these were cash cows. And both these companies would allow Adani Group to have a lot of positive cash flow, which was not there in some of their businesses. So it was a good acquisition. And going forward, I think that there would be, as we have it in telecom, there would be cartels in cement as well. Not cartels, but again, power centers, if I can say that. So we have Aditya Birla Group, which has a lot in cement. The second group would be the Adanis. They would acquire smaller companies and make their portfolio very strong, and regionally also, because there are various regional players in cement, and definitely there's a lot of capex involved as far as if you want to set up a new cement plant, the capex is humongous. So the lead time is huge. I think it takes about 2 years, 2.5 years to set up a cement plant and get it rolling. So I think it's a good move by Adanis, and if this is happening, this consolidation was in store, and definitely the bigger fish would eat the smaller fish and consolidate its position in the market. So overall, I'm happy with whatever has happened. So it would help Ambuja to a great extent to increase and make its cement portfolio stronger.
Right. That's with Ambuja. Moving on, Vedanta has seen a downtick in trade after the block deal. What's your view on the stock, and what would you advise investors to do?
Well, I think that when Vedanta was about 330, I actually spoke on one of the channel that we should exit Vedanta. My discomfort grows when I see 100% pledged position in Vedanta. So definitely there is stress. There is a lot of debt, and any company carrying such kind of debt would be in some kind of a pressure. So these downgrades would come as the debt increases. Now I'm also hearing that Vedanta wants to sell for 5% of their company to some player. So this would at least help to reduce the debt to some extent. So debt has eaten away many good balance sheets. So I would say that there are other good companies in the metal space where you can focus. So I would say that don't get into Vedanta as of now, and don't try to bottom fish. So let's see what happens. But again, if you want to stay in metals, there are good companies like NMDC. There are companies like SAIL you can get into. Tata Steel is a very good company. JSW, Jindal Steel and Power. So there are scores of good companies in metals where you can take positions. But Vedanta, as of now, I would say that you can hold. Even Hindalco is a fantastic company to have it.
Right. Moving on, Dabur is expected to report numbers today. However, ahead of numbers, the stock has been under pressure, and this is mainly after news reports have reported that high carcinogenic content in the product of Dabur honey. Now, clearly, if you go to see, the honey products contribute around 6 to 7% of the company's revenues in India. What's your view on this, and how do you think this will impact a Dabur? Because we've seen something similar when Maggie happened to a Nestle, and the kind of repercussions Nestle had to bear. How does this actually yoga according to you?
Well, Dabur is more than 100-year-old company, and I think that there have been times when companies get some allegations. It's an institution, but yes, even if you're an institution, Nestle in itself is an institution. You cannot take things for granted. You cannot take the customers for granted. You cannot play with people's health. So there is going to be some kind of a negative impact. There we have seen it today. But again, I think that if they do course corrections and like Nestle did, they worked on their product, they made it a better product. If they can work on the product composition, I think that it would come back again. But yes, for some time, I would say that it's an untouchable for some time. People who are holding should not worry much, long-term investors, because it would surely come back. It would take time, but it would surely come
Right. Moving on, you have VIP, which is reported numbers. Safari also did yesterday or day before yesterday. I think Safari numbers have been better than a VIP. What's your view on the luggage industry, taking into consideration that the consumption spending in the second half of FY24 is expected to be better as compared to higher number of festive days? Plus, you have the World Cup as well. So, how are you looking at it?
Well, I think the travel tourism industry is doing well. I was in Bombay last week and sitting in one of the star hotels, and for breakfast there was a huge waiting line, and this was in Juhu. So this gives a very clear signal that people are still thronging to hotels. They're traveling, they're enjoying, they're spending money. So spending is happening. But yes, luggage is something which somebody buys for some time, and the repeat buying happens after some time. So we have seen an upside in VIP. Now there's a correction which has happened. So I don't think that this correction is going to last forever. Uh, the stock should start coming back from 500 odd levels, and I would be a buyer at 500 in a company like VIP. And I completely agree that results wise, Safari has been better. But yes, I would be a buyer at around 500 if the stocks comes in.
Right. How are you looking at a Titan post the numbers?
Well, I think that it has been a good show overall in the last couple of years by Titan, and we have seen the way it has moved up. So I would say any company which has seen a reasonably big up move is bound to correct. And even Titan, I think that if at all you get the stock somewhere around maybe 2750, 2700, it would be a great entry point for Titan. We might see some more correction. So I think that these results have become a reason for the correction in stocks. So we have a reasonably good monsoon. Number one. Secondly, we have the festive season round the corner. Number two, we didn't have many marriages. In the Hindu tradition, there were not many marriages in May, June, and July. And all the marriages are stacked October onwards. So I think that once the marriage season starts, the sales also would start picking up. So Titan traditionally does well during the festive season. So I would say that wait for some more correction if you want to get a fresh into the stock. And long-term holders anyway cannot blame Titan for anything because they have made a killing in so many years. So this is a normal correction according to me, and there are lean periods in any good company. So this is a lean period for Titan as well. But again, next couple of quarters look very good.
Right. Now, Pharma Pack has been in focus as well, which over the last couple of trading sessions. And today you have Sun Pharma as well as Lupin that will be announcing numbers. How are you looking at both these counters and what would you advise investors to do?
Well, I think that Sun Pharma particularly once can book some profits and sit on the sidelines. And similarly, we have seen a decent run up in Lupin as well. I would be a buyer in these stocks, although, but in a correction, Lupin, if it comes around maybe 820, 840, it would be a good entry point for Lupin. But yes, as of now, I would recommend that one should start booking profits. It's not a bad idea to sit on sidelines at times, or you can get into a Lotus lab or a Divi's lab, which looks very good, which hasn't moved up. So you can shift your investments into a company which has not moved up very much. So I think that this could be a good strategy of booking profits and getting into another stock. And probably when you see a correction in Sun Pharma and Lupin, you can re-enter these stocks.
Right. The last one I want to talk to you about is Eicher Motors. Clearly, with Bajaj launching a Triumph and Hero launching a Harley, the key question has always been as to how much market share will they be able to pull from a Royal Enfield. Obviously, they will still continue to remain the market leaders because they have over 90% market share. How are you looking at Eicher Motors? And what would you advise? Current levels to enter the stock, or do you think there could be further correction that could come in? And then investors should start looking at Eicher?
Well, I think that Eicher, again, these companies are bellwethers. They've seen the, ups and downs since a number of years. There have been scores of models which have been launched, and companies reinvent their product range. They bring in new products which are, which people like, and the price range could be different. I'm sure that Eicher has gone back to the drawing board post the Harley launch, and yes, Harley has come up with a very very competitive pricing. And definitely it's a challenge for Eicher. But again, companies reinvent the way they work, and I think Siddharth Lal is a very smart chip on the block, and he knows how to run the business. He knows the pulse of the business. He knows how what the youngsters want, what they want to drive, and what kind of punch they want in their product. So I think that if at all you see Eicher again around 3200, 3250, it would be a wonderful level to get into. But yes, I think that post the consolidation, Eicher can start moving up, and we should. I am expecting personally that Eicher would be launching few new models very shortly.
That's with regards to Eicher Motors. Thank you, Vijay, so much for sharing the views and on those individual names as well. So a lot of stock-specific action is what we're witnessing in trade today. The markets are still somber. The consolidation is something which is expected to continue as well. Thank you. Stay safe and speak to you soon again. And that's all that we have on this session. Thanks for watching, and lots more lined up on the other side. Please stay tuned to BQ Prime.